Okay, great. So hands, forearms, a little bit unusual, I guess, because we don't work with the hands very often. But a lot of the shapes we'll be in are very familiar, so nothing unusual there, but just the hands are said to be the messengers of the heart. Hands are the messengers of the heart. And they're really rich in neuroreceptors. In fact, they are second only to the lips and the genitalia in terms of neuroreceptors. And that's pretty cool because some of us talk with our hands a lot, but we certainly make connection with our hands. Karen's playing with the dog, we're like, we touch each other. And when you touch another human being or you're touched by another human being, you can feel the intention and the emotional state of that person, right? Or that animal. So in Chinese medicine, there's a meridian that runs from the heart all the way down to the hands. So we're gonna kind of open up and exercise our hands a little bit today. But let's start on our backs. And my invitation is always to find a way that allows you to feel settled. Find a way that allows you to feel settled. Like really dropping in to your body on the earth. And that could be some pendiculation where you take the big yawn and stretch the legs, stretch the arms in opposite directions. Might be a little bit of movement side to side with the knees bent. So anything that just allows you to really drop. And I'll make my way over to my mat and just stop talking for a few minutes. And now the invitation just to take about 5 rounds of breath, extending the exhale. And you can add some movement to that if you like, but just 5 rounds of breath, extending the exhale. And then place your hands on your heart center. If you need to put some blocks underneath your elbows, that works just fine. Or rest your elbows on the floor, bend your knees and set the soles of your feet to the floor, and then let your knees come together. Rest your knees together. Rest your hands on your heart center. And just take 5 more rounds of breath and feel for a connection, heart to hands. Can you soften your hands from the inside out? Then separating the knees and just let your arms come to the side or out to the sides of your body in the goalpost position with the palms up, and let your knees fall back and forth slowly side to side. We'll get a little whole body activation here. So feeling into your low back, into your pelvis. And then as your knees move side to side, you can stretch the opposite arm. So knees to the left, stretch the opposite arm up and reach your pinky side, or aim your pinky side towards the ceiling. And then bringing that back to the starting position, knees to the right, stretch your left arm up behind you. It's on the floor, pinky up towards the ceiling. And then just move back and forth in this little vinyasa. And when you've done an even number, just keep the arms reaching behind you, palms up, and stretch your legs long. So legs are straight, reach the arms, reach the legs, spread your fingers, spread your toes. And then just make some circles through your ankles. Keep spreading the fingers, change the direction of the circling. And then press, come to just toes up towards the ceiling, Tadasana. Press one heel away and reach the same arm away. And relax that and press the opposite heel away and opposite arm, same side. And go back and forth with that a few times. All familiar actions if you're here with me a lot. So here we go, just back and forth, finding some space in the side ribs, side of the body. Great. Then just once you've done an even number there, bring your hands right above your chest, interlace your fingers, and press your palms up towards the ceiling. See if you can get all the fingers to interlace. And then just a little bit of action, kind of sort of lean the arms over to the right and left, go back and forth. And if you can, do your best to keep your arms straight as you go back and forth here. Then come back to the center and take your arms behind you on the floor, best you can. And you might have to have a little bend in your elbows. So if you keep your elbows as straight as possible. And then reach your palms back, stretch, stretch, stretch there. And then just slowly let your fingers separate and sweep your arms down to your sides. Interlace your hands and fingers again, but to the opposite orientation. So opposite thumb on top, press your palms up towards the ceiling. Is this side different? And then same thing, just kind of sweep your arms over to one side and over to the other side. A few times in each direction. And then behind your head, as best as you can, keep the elbows straightened and reach the feet away, reach the hands away, and then slowly let the fingers come unlaced and sweep your arms down to your side. Great. Bend your knees again. And let's do just a couple of pelvic tilts here. So drawing pubic bone away from navel, find an arch in your back, pubic bone towards navel, pressing your low back towards the floor. And allow there to be follow through up through your spine into your cervical spine. See what happens with your head as you move back and forth with this. Yeah. Great. And then just roll to one side and press yourself up here. And any position that you'd like to sit in, Sukhasana, Virasana, we've got a couple of pillows here. I'm going to set myself up in Virasana with my pillows. Great. All right, so sitting up, and we're going to start by bringing our hands out in front of us and pointing the fingers down towards the floor. And then sweeping your arms right up in front of you and turning the palms up to the ceiling and pressing the hands away as you come down, back down to the starting position. Turn fingers down, sweep the hands up, arms up, turn palms up to the ceiling, and sweep the arms down. And you can go at your own speed here. Give a nice rhythm. And yeah, you could go both hands both arms at the same time, or you could alternate. Yeah, either one. And the next time you come down in front of you, start with the fingers pointing up now, palms away. Feel, and just take a couple seconds just to feel where that feels impactful in your body. Then sweep, 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 like you're taking your hands up a wall until your palms are facing up. And then turn the fingers the other way and dive them back down. Keep your fingers spread apart. So just some simple flexion and extension here. Right. And you might feel a little bit of sensation now in your forearms as we continue this. Yep, great. And next time you come down, just rest, shake out your shoulders a little bit, roll your shoulders up, down, and back. And now we'll bring the arms out to the sides. And as we lift our arms over our head, we're going to rotate the wrists in. We're going to rotate the hands in a circle. And then we'll go back down, rotating out. With going up, rotating the hands in, sort of a rotating in, and then outward rotation as we go down. Yeah, here we go. Let's do that a few more times. Kind of a nice flowy movement, right? Yeah. Next time your arms are extended above your head, interlace or cross the thumbs, and reach fingertips towards the ceiling. Draw shoulder blades down your back. Pull against, isometrically pull against your thumbs. Feel the work in your shoulders here. For 3, 2, 1, just softly release and let your arms float down. Roll shoulders up, down, and back. And then we'll take them back up, hands, arms back up, circling in. Cross your thumbs in the opposite direction. It feels almost impossible to me. Like, I'm like, I can't do it that way. But do the opposite and draw your shoulder blades down, reach your fingertips up, pull against your thumbs, isometrically, feel a little work in your shoulders. For 3, 2, 1, and let the hands separate and arms float down. Okay. Roll your shoulders out. Okay, and then we're just going to come into a twist. We'll come into a twist. Either direction is fine. Just take your palm to the outside of the opposite leg. Easy twist. On your breath, exhale to release. Inhale, exhale to turn again. You can take one full breath. So just a couple of times in each direction, just to get warmed up here with this twist. And then we're going to change the position of the hand. So let's all go to the left, but take the right hand and turn the palm out. And maybe all you can get is your fingertips to the ground. It kind of depends on the way you're sitting. And if I were to take my props away, actually, sit in Sukhasana, I might be able to get a little bit more of my hand to the floor, but palm away. Back hand is on the floor like a kickstand. And then slowly release. Go in the opposite direction. Curious about this side. And release. Good. Now make your way to all fours. Get some padding for your knees if you need some padding for your knees. And set your hands up, shoulder distance apart. Knees are underneath your hips. And then from here, just lift your fingers. Lift your fingers, then your palm, then your forearms come to the floor and your hips back to your heels. That would be our exhale. Then let your hands rest on the floor. Inhale to come all the way back up. Take a little cow movement. Find a neutral spine. Lift your fingers, your palms, forearms to the floor, and hips back towards heels. Release your hands to the floor. Okay, so it's a cat-cow, but we're doing something, we're a little bit more in tension with the hands. So as you inhale to come back up and find cow, then find a neutral spine. So relax the arching in your back. Lift your fingers only. Just try it. Lift your fingers only. Then lift the palms. Keep the heel of your hands on the floor. Then forearms down as you exhale back to child's pose. Okay, try a few of these on your own. And you can speed up the whole thing a little bit, but be very intentional about really working with your hands. Fingers, palms, forearms come down. Let's do 2 more. And we'll meet in the child's pose. And then once you're in child's pose, bring your arms, your hands alongside, your arms alongside your body, palms up. Palms up. And then we're going to curl the fingers into the, and the thumb into the palm, and then curl the wrists. And then release that. Curl your fingers and your thumb into your palm, and then flex at the wrist, curl the wrists up. And then release. Do that 2 more times. Curl the fingers and the thumb into the palm. Curl the wrists and release. Great. And then next time you inhale, you're going to stand up on your knees and do that same action with the wrists, where we're rotating the wrists out as we stand up on our knees. Right? Now we do this, we've done this quite a bit where we stand up on our knees, right? We're going to exhale and come down to the child's pose with the hands resting on the sacrum, but we're gonna exhale with the wrists rotating out. And then we land with the wrists, the hands on the low back. As you inhale, you stand up on your knees, but get the hands out to the side and rotate the wrists inward, all the way up. And then as you exhale, rotating outward. And resting your hands on your sacrum. A couple more times. Really draw the navel up and in to get the core engaged as you go up and down. And the next time you come down to child's pose, stay here. Rest your arms alongside your body. Palms up. And then the same thing, curl your fingers and your thumb into your palm and flex at the wrist. And then release. Curl your fingers and your thumb into your palm. Curl your wrists up, so flex at the wrist, and then release. One more time, everyone. Okay, then you can bring your hands out in front of you and slide out onto your belly. Slide onto your belly, feet about hip distance apart. Okay, and then bring your hands to your low ribs. Bring your hands to your low ribs. Forehead on the floor. Good. Inhale, press into your hands just enough to lift, but then draw your elbows back in space. Squeeze buttocks, squeeze the elbows towards one another. So there's not a lot of pressure on your hands, but it's more the back muscles working, and then elbows in tight to the sides, and draw your elbows back in space for 3, 2, 1. Release down to the floor, arms to your side, and one cheek or temple. So turn your head in one direction. Okay, so we'll do a couple of these baby cobras. The hands aren't pushing as much as just settled right there beside our low ribs. And we're really working the back muscles here. So bring your forehead back to the floor. Bring your hands alongside your low ribs. Lift your upper body. Squeeze your elbows towards midline and draw your elbows back in space. Draw your elbows back in space. Press pubic bone towards the floor for 3, 2, 1, release. Turn your head in the opposite direction, arms alongside your body. We'll do one more in each direction. Coming back to turning the head in each direction. So start with forehead on the floor again. Bring your hands beside your low ribs. It feels like they're way back, right? And squeeze the elbows in, draw the elbows back and lift with the strength of your back. 3, 2, 1, release. Arms alongside your body, palms up. You can really feel your heart rate going here. This is actually really pretty hard work, okay? Come back to center, forehead to the floor, hands alongside your body. Right by the low ribs. Press yourself up. Draw the elbows in towards one another and back in space for 3, 2, 1. Come back down to the floor. Turn your head in the opposite direction and take one round of breath. Okay. Okay, next from here, so still on our belly now. Okay. Now reach your left hand back, bend your left knee, reach your left hand back and take your foot with your hand. So take your left foot with your hand, bring your heel in towards your buttocks. Right hand is alongside your low ribs. And then lift your upper body. Pull your foot in towards your buttocks and press your foot against your hand. Then sweep your right forearm forward so you can press yourself up a little bit higher. Okay, so right forearm parallel to the short edge of your mat. You're pressing your foot into your hand and you're pulling back with your hand. So it's a sort of a half bow supported. We're getting supported by the front forearm for 3, 2, 1, release. Come down to the floor. Turn your head in one direction and take your arms alongside your body, palms up. You can feel the work. Your heart rate is probably accelerated here. And then forehead to the floor, bend your right knee and take your right foot with your right hand outside of the foot. And then lift your upper body, slide your left arm so that your left forearm is parallel to the short edge of your mat, pressing into that forearm to help you lift a little higher, pulling your foot in towards your buttocks and pressing your foot into your hand at the same time. That isometric work for 3, 2, 1, and release. Come back down, turn your head in the opposite direction. Take a full round of breath, and then we'll go back to the first side. Forehead to the floor. You can start with your hands beside your low ribs. Reach your left hand back, take your left foot, pull it in towards your buttocks. As you press up, right forearm goes parallel to the short edge of the mat. Good strong work here. You might even be able to lift your thigh off the floor a little bit for 3, 2, 1. Release everything down. Turn your head. 1 full breath for the rest. Good, then we'll go to the other side. Start with your forehead on the floor. Bend your right knee, take your right foot with your right hand, press foot into hand, push the foot away, lift your upper body, left forearm goes to the front of the mat, right underneath your face, lined up parallel with the short edge of your mat. Ah. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Turn your head in the opposite direction. Arms alongside your body. Maybe softly moving your hips here. Right to left. Beautiful. Come back to center. Take your hands and place them at your low ribs. Lift your head and shoulders. Draw the elbows in and back in space. And then keep pressing till you can come up to table. Keep pressing till you come up to table. Good. And then reach your hips back towards your heels. Reach your hands forward, tenting your fingers. Arms are off the floor, elbows as straight as possible. So puppy pose. And then you can take your hands down to the mat, turn your hands out slightly. Turn your hands out slightly. And then rock yourself back and forth. Just your hands are turned out slightly. So alignment of the hands on the mat, you know, it's often said we line up the middle finger with the long edge of the mat. If I turn my hands out slightly, especially if you have pretty tight shoulders, it's more of a index finger lineup. But play around with this just for fun. See how this feels, this alignment. As you come forward the next time, turn toes under. So you can get all 10 toes under and press up and back to downward facing dog. Now in this new hand alignment, does it feel a little easier to broaden across your back? Roll the triceps down to the floor. Okay, and then from here, walk your feet towards your hands so that you're in a sort of modified a short downward dog or a more open forward fold. And then bend through your knees and reach your hips back, kind of in a big squat, and then press yourself back up. And then just move back and forth here a few times. So you're just coming down into a squat, the hands are forward, and then pressing back up. Good. Last time, when you press your hips back up now, take the heels to the floor, and then come up onto your toes and bring your weight a little bit forward, loading your wrists, and then heels down, and then a little bit forward, loading your wrists. You're just loading the wrists a little bit. Heels down, rock forward, feel the loading of the wrists. Good. And then this last time, your hips are back, bend through your knees, sweep your hands back and forward into a variation of our chair sit, and then press up to standing. Press up to standing, settle yourself, walk around your space. Great. And then finding Tadasana in the middle of your mat. Find Tadasana in the middle of your mat. I'm back in the cool temps that have lots of clothes on here. All right, so let's take right foot forward, left foot back, and find warrior one legs. Warrior one legs. So arms down to your side. And now as you inhale and bend into the front knee, do the same thing with sweeping the wrists in. Coming all the way up, hands extended, arms extended overhead and fingers pointing towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale and straighten the front leg, spin or rotate the wrists outwardly. I've got a little bit of something in my way here. So here we go. So as you inhale, bend through the front knee and sweep the hands up, doing that same rotation with the wrists. And as you exhale, bring the arms down to your sides, rotating the wrists out. A couple more times. And then the next time your arms are down to your side, front leg is straight. You're in the warrior one stance. Take your hands to your hips now. Bend through the front knee and turn the back foot out, open up. Now find yourself in warrior two. You'll have to adjust your stance a little bit. Reach the arms out, but take the palms up as if you were receiving the pose. Receive the pose. On your next inhale, straighten the front leg, bring your hands together above your head, and just let the fingertips lightly touch, and then exhale, bring your hands through heart center. Inhale, open back up, warrior two, palms up. Exhale to really feel this, really solidly connected to the earth. Inhale, straighten the front leg, bring your hands above your head, touch fingertips. And exhale, let your hands come through heart center. Inhale, stretch out into warrior two again, palms up. And now let's just internally rotate. So the palms come down. Externally rotate, palms open a few times. Next time your palms are facing up, inhale, straighten the front leg, bring your hands above your head, fingertips touch, and now turn both feet to be parallel to one another and let your hands come through heart center. Down to your sides. Great. And then heel toe or jump the feet together, find Tadasana, turn to face the short end of your mat, step your left foot forward, right foot back for Vira one on the other side. Okay, so here we go. Arms are to the side as we bend through the front leg and the arms sweep up. We're going to rotate the wrists in. And as we exhale, straightening the front leg, we're going to rotate the wrists out. Yep. Okay, 3 times. Good. And now we should find ourselves back in warrior two legs, front leg straight. Let's do one more to get the bend in the front leg. Yep, then hands on hips, open up your stance. So step your back foot back and find warrior two legs now. Bring the arms out, palms up. Receiving the pose. Feel the receiving of the pose. And on your next inhale, straighten the front leg, bring your hands above your head, touch the fingertips lightly, exhale through heart center. Inhale to sweep open again. Exhale, really ground into this. Then inhale, straighten the front leg, sweep the arms up. Exhale, float hands down through your heart center. That, see if you can get a sense of that hand-heart connection. I'll be quiet here and we'll do a couple more. And the last time you lift the hands above the head, turn both feet to be parallel. Exhale through center and come right down into a fold. So a big wide fold, okay? Then you're going to turn your palms down and walk your hands back as far as possible. Walk your hands back as far as possible. So they're behind my heels. Okay, and then bend through your elbows, bend through your knees, and see if you can get your lower arms or your forearms are parallel to one another. You're bending through your elbows, and you want to try to get to like almost a parallel alignment of the upper arms. And knees are bent, and then we straighten the legs again, straighten the arms. So you might play around with walking the hands back a little further. You're going to bend the elbows as you bend your knees. And then straighten the legs, straighten the arms. You might even find yourself kind of coming in contact, legs to arms. Great. Then the next time you straighten your legs, straighten your arms, turn your hands in the other direction, palms down, fingers forward, and walk your hands forward of your body now. So you're kind of in a downward dog shape here. Great. Then you can walk your hands back toward underneath you, heel toe the feet a little closer together, and line up your feet so the toes are pointing out. They're lined up with your thighs, and bring your hands, your forearms to your thighs. So you're in the goddess pose. And then here we go. We're going to rotate the wrists in as we stand up. Rotate the wrists out as we come down into goddess. So a couple times, going to your whatever capacity, you have to come into this goddess pose. It doesn't matter how deep you go. And coordinating the hands, wrist in, wrist out as you move up and down. The next time you stand up straight, interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the ceiling, and you can take a side bend in one direction. Inhale back to center. Change the interlacing of your fingers to the funny grip. Press your palms up towards the ceiling. Side bend in the opposite direction. Come back up. Switch the interlacing again. Press the palms away. And side bend. First side. And back to center, switch the interlacing, press the palms up, reaching in the opposite direction. Inhale back to straight up, release the hands, let them float down. And heel toe the feet together. Dropping into a squat now with your hands out in front. So you could be off your heels, you could even be sitting on a block if you want, but the hands are open and they're resting, your forearms are resting on your thighs. And then spread your fingers down towards the floor, then curl and come back. With the wrists, spread your fingers open, reach your fingers down towards the floor, then curl the fingers and bring the fist towards your body. A few times. Again, you could be sitting on a block here, or you could be in the squat. Good. Then let's go all the way to the floor. Bring yourself down to your back, knees in your hands, and take some circles with your knees. Both directions. Right, then take position of comfort. Okay, position of comfort. Great. Then from here, let's bring the arms into the robot arms. Soles of the feet on the floor. Good. And then just press up with the hips and down. You just start to feel some mobility in your spine, just up and down a few times, and then we'll make this a bigger movement. Okay. So a little cascading bridge. Now bring your arms alongside your body, palms down. As you press up, then sweep the right arm behind you and turn your gaze to the left. And as you come back to the starting position, your head comes back, your hips come down, your hand comes back down to your sides. Good. Press into your feet, lift your hips, left arm behind, turn your head to the right. And then sweep this back to the starting position. Let's go a few more times on each side at your own pace. Great. Now, back to the starting position. Arms are alongside the body, palms down. Take a little bit of an inhale to draw the pubic bone away from navel, and then start to press. And now let's walk the shoulders underneath and see if we can interlace the hands underneath the buttocks. Right? And a lot of this is work in the shoulders now too, not just the hands. You could release the pinky finger and press that pinky edge into the floor as you lift your hips a little higher. Okay, we'll take a couple rounds of this. Okay, so let's hold this for another one full round of breath. Then let the hands release and roll down one vertebra at a time. And as we do a few repetitions of this, see if you can get the fingers to interlace pretty tightly. It's not going to happen in everybody's body, of course, but same starting position, arms alongside your body. You'll take an inhale to just get that little bit of arch in your back as you press into your feet and lift. The knees draw away from the body so you get that, help you get that lift, right? And there's some action in the buttocks, and then start to walk your shoulders underneath your body. See if you can get the fingers to interlace, maybe even take the opposite grip this time. And second time around, I feel like I can get my fingers a little closer together. Good. And then you're pressing your arms down into the floor as you lift your hips. Chin is in towards the chest, so the back of the neck is long. Pressing hips up towards the ceiling. For 3, 2, 1, we'll release the arms out to the side. You could also take your arms straight up towards the ceiling and then feel for this nice unfurling as you roll down one vertebra at a time. All the way down. Good. And take a breath, just one resting breath here. We'll do one more. And I would suggest on this last one that you interlace with the funny grip. So we're really working all the time to train some of the areas that kind of get forgotten, the sensory motor amnesia, as it is referred to. So here we go. We'll inhale to lift. Walk the shoulders underneath. Take the funny grip. Reach the fingers. See if you can get them interlaced as much as possible, and then press your arms as straight as possible down towards the floor. Lifting the hips, chin in towards chest. And 3, 2, and 1. Then slowly let your arms come sweep out to the side and roll down one vertebra at a time. Unfurling, 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 unfurling. Good. Beautiful. Now, when you come down to the ground, let your knees come together. Take your hands and rest them on your heart center again. Soften your hands here. Soften your hands. Okay. One last thing now. We're going to bring the hands down to the sides of our body again. And you can have your knees bent to start. Now bring your hands underneath your buttocks, palms down, palms down. See if you can get your hands to come together. Now straighten your legs. Okay, this could be where you stay. Or you could slide your elbows closer to one another and the back of your head comes to the floor. So we're in a fish pose. So the hands are palms down underneath your buttocks. You sort of slide your elbows in towards one another, and I'm pressing into my forearms here. And my head is, I open up my throat, right? So there's a, of my upper back, oh, actually my whole back is off the floor in this posture, in this fish posture. And you could certainly stay, if I backed up here, you could certainly stay with your knees bent and just get, the head more or less in a neutral position and the forearms in. You can straighten the legs, stay right there with the elbows kind of working in towards one another. Or you can lift the chest and bring your elbows towards one another Back of your head comes to the floor in fish pose. This might be, you might find yourself like, woo, I feel like I had a cup of coffee. So these kinds of poses, heart open, kind of inversion here, they really excite us, right? They're very energy boosting. Now slip out the same way you came in, so elbows out. I take the soles of my feet to the floor, press up and release my hands. And just turn your palms up now and feel, you can feel so much tingling sensation in your hands, just all kinds of activity in the hands after that. Feels really great. And then from here, anything else that is going to be just a nice way to come back to that settling position. Maybe a twist in both directions, maybe a happy baby, but whatever, let your body tell you here what it would feel good. So making your way to the final resting Shavasana. And getting set up for that with whatever you need to be comfortable and relaxed and still for just a few minutes. I'm doing a scan from head to toe. If there's any holding anywhere, can you let that holding have a little less hold? Soften the muscles around your eyes. Release any tension in your jaw. And then soften your hands. And continue to bring your awareness to your hands and soften your hands. And you might finish by bringing your hands to your heart space one more time. Connecting with gratitude or joy, contentment, peace. Touching that space with your hands. You can stay in this position for as long as you like. Or you could roll to one side and take your time to come up to a seat. And if you do come up to a seat, we'll bring our hands together slowly in a universal gesture of prayer and gratitude, right in front of the heart center. And the traditional greeting of Namaste, which means that we honor the brilliance in one another. So, Namaste. Thanks for joining in today.